Oh my God, anyone would almost think that, you know, you hadn't been dropped on your head as a baby. But
that has happened.
I know.
And I personally look forward to your hostess club.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? I thought we were going to do a video on Tony Abbott, and we still are.
We still are.
But we were having a conversation just before I switched the camera on. I've been going, people think...
Hang on. Hello, thank you for coming. And it's very nice to be on your device. Thank you.
Oh, it's all about you. Actually, it is.
It's actually about you. It is actually about you.
While we are raging narcissists and would literally talk to a vacuum...
No. In a vacuum.
No, I mean 2-1. Like if it was on the other side of a porthole in deep space.
No, in a vacuum and be fucking heard.
Oh, yeah, no. I get where you're coming from.
Bloody
Nothing's
right
going to stop us talking.
No.
But we were having a little chat. A lot of people said it should have an angry gaming channel or videos at least, which I might do occasionally.
You know, I have it. Doesn't matter.
Bulk swearing if I do that. And AIDzee, because of the arthritis, doesn't really like the game controllers.
Love the games. Was very disappointed when I became arthritic as Laura started bloody running off rocks and was getting killed by dinosaurs and shit. And she was stupid. Crofty, baby, darling, you're my girl. You're my homie, and stop running over stuff. Because my thumbs respond badly.
You know how all of us, you gaming, you're sitting there, no, I hit X, dodge you motherfucker, don't, oh fuck. That's like all the time, even in non-pressure situations.
Because my nerves respond between 5, well, no, it's more than that. It's 25 and 100 milliseconds, right? Which is not bad. That's not bad. It's just you can't pick which one it's going to be or where it's going to be. So you can't time like you would in gaming, which is disappointing. So I don't invest in the consoles.
No.
Mind you, there's technology coming out which you just put on your friggin' head and you just go, I'm thinking about killing that dude.
Brain control.
Brain control.
And
no one likes it because they reckon they can brain control back.
Yeah, you get sucked into the Matrix.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Good.
No,
whatever.
Do it.
Fine.
You
as long as they sell drugs there, I'm good. Except I'm drug free.
Yeah, no,
that's I live in a month officially.
Complete side issue we weren't going to talk about. But it's funny, in Australia, it's just about to become illegal to have codeine painkillers except on prescription. You used to be able to get them over the counter, and they've been restricting them more and more. And the end of this month... The end of this month,
all over. You
can only get them on prescription. And a lot of people are arguing the problem's overstated. And I saw someone on Facebook saying that, look at that story saying people would eat like 50 of them. You can't physically do that. You'd collapse and make sick. And I did feel compelled to jump into the comment thread and go, point of order.
Yeah, just a thing.
Back in the day, when certain people were the drug pig of drug pigs...
And that would be me.
Yeah. When they used to sell the Nurofen Plus, which were the codeine painkillers over the counter, in packs of 72, I think?
It was 72. I remember those days fondly.
And they would just give those motherfuckers out with nary a thought, and you would, like, do 2 of them in one sitting.
And more.
I know. And so I had to say this person who thinks nobody abuses the codeine pills to this degree, say,
believe me,
there is possibly one person who is solely responsible
probably
for the massive overuse of codeine painkillers that has had them withdrawn from market.
Do you know where all this started?
Where did all this start?
I will tell you where all this started. Back in the day when Rudd was Prime Minister first time round, a rep from Beckett and Reckitt, no, it's Reckitt and Beckett.
A drug company.
Right. Went up, it was actually very important because they're the Nurofen Plus people.
Yes.
went up to him and said, "Congratulations on your massive population increase." And he said, "What are you talking about?" And he went, "Ho, ho, ho, you have 35 million people in your country. And we just celebrated having 22 million people in the country. And one's gone later to an aid. What the fuck is he talking about?" And probably in those exact terms, actually, because he was like that.
He was a bit, actually.
And they told him, well, the sales of codeine-based products in Australia mean that if everyone was taking them correctly, there's 35 million people in the country. There's only 22, which means that some of the 22 million were taking a lot more than they should. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I got, let's say, caught by doctors who claim that they are drugs and alcohol addiction specialists after having a seizure associated with opium withdrawal in a hospital. Let's say
That's a hypothetical situation. Okay?
Which happened.
Yeah.
And let's say they said, "You're going on the program or we're not going to give you any painkillers anymore at all." And I just had surgery on my teeth. These were unhappy days. And I went, "Oh, all right." And I got railroaded into the program. Resisted it well for like a good 18 months. And then got a new boyfriend, and he said, "The smokes and the drugs have got to go."
Yeah.
Just like that. And I went, right then. Fucking flip the game then. And then, after much effort, managed to do it.
Yeah, it was
surprised the shit out of everyone.
Wasn't a straight line by any stretch of the imagination.
Especially me.
Yeah.
Just 2 weeks ago, celebrated my 11th official month off the drugs. So, the thing about it was, I had an understanding of how deeply woven this thing was when they started making noises about stopping it. And I was already on my way out by this time, so I wasn't real worried. But I then heard news of when they were saying, "Oh, you know, we're just going to shut it down." They were going to shut it down last year. They were going to do that. And then the doctors all said, "No, you're not going to do that just now, and not overnight.
Need a planning period."
And then they came out and said, "We're giving everyone a year to reorganise their shit." And that was, pretty much they said reorganise their management.
Yeah.
And they did say,
together.
They said, "You've got a year, and it's really, really going to happen officially in a couple of days."
Yeah.
Right, and when you go to a pharmacy now, as I go to a pharmacy every day, wonder why. When you go to a pharmacy now, they're all run out of codeine.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
Because all the warehouses emptied because they weren't going to be able to sell it.
More, right?
So they would have lost money if they kept making it at the normal rate. So last time I got one that may or may not have been for a hangover, and I will have the codeine thing or the brand name. Your store brand is fine. A lot of chemists have it like their generic brand of stuff. And he went, "Oh yeah, this is all we've got left." Because of the ban, no one's making it anymore, and they're just depleting the warehouse. And this was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So like 2-3 months before the ban, the actual supply was starting to run out.
The littler chemists were starting to thin out their supplies. The bigger chemists have all now run out. Now, here's the thing. What is unheralded in this country is that 90% of the heroin-using junkies are not visible. They are, in fact, family members.
Really respectable people. The heroin user does not mean the junkie lying in the park.
No.
A lot of people maintaining families, professional lives.
Usually fairly high up.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be able to spend money on the kids and buy your drugs.
Oh, no. So a lot of people are invisible in their drug use.
Now, you twin that with the idea that codeine used to be freely available as a legal product over the counter. And you wonder what's going to happen next. And it turns out that it is estimated that between 15 and 17% of the country is addicted to codeine. In various different strengths, for sure, and to be sure. But in the next week or so, this place is going to be a screaming shit fight. And they're all going to turn up at the hospital going, I need to go on a program, I think. My GP just sent me here. And basically, the program, the methadone-style program people, the drugs and addiction people, all the straight premiers went to the federal government and said, so, this codeine ban's great. So how much more money are you going to give us for the DONE programs that we have to implement for these people? So, you know, so we're thinking like, you know, 50, 70%, and we could stretch it. And then the federal government turned around and said, oh, no, you're not getting anything new or more. You're just going to absorb. And they've all fucking gone and lost their fucking minds at the Prime Minister going, it's stretched now. It's stretched now. We're like putting more people in because there's a massive ice epidemic in the country. And the only thing they know to do is put them on methadone. It's not really, it doesn't really work, but they don't know what else to do. So stretched right out thin. And now you've got 15 to 17% of the country. Let's break bring it down, and let's be conservative and say 7 to 9% are going to be addicted enough to require medical attention. Where are they going to go? What are they going to do?
So that's roughly 1 million people.
It's it's going to be really interesting next couple of weeks while they detox.
Yeah.
Which I've done before on my own.
Hey, yeah, you know what? So that could be people that you never suspected, people you work with, family members.
You're going to find out.
If they suddenly get antsy and really aggravated, tearing stuff up and whatnot.
Sweaty, crying.
You could calm things down by just grabbing them and going, you're a junkie, aren't you? That will defuse the situation. That will level everything out. Because they will just go, you're right.
You're right.
I'll address this issue.
I've clearly got to change my ways. And I think extreme abstinence in the face of actual neural shutdown
is kind of like, you know,
what we should be going for here.
If you're ever in a fight with your significant other, the way to diffuse the whole thing is just say, for God's sake, calm down. The fight will be over.
Or the other one is, you're pretty when you're angry.
That might work.
No?
It
really doesn't.
That's the voice of experience. I only threw that might work because I've never tried it.
It doesn't.
I know if someone told me I was pretty when I was angry, it might work.
I was really young and quite stupid. Still a bit stupid.
Yeah, not quite that young anymore. Again, there's various things with the lack of social media and whatnot. It's like, I did stupid shit when I was young that you only know because I occasionally tell you about it. We occasionally have these talks where you explain some of your misadventures.
And there were some.
There were shenanigans.
There was.
There were breakings, enterings, drug dealings, shootings, accidental porn.
There was that. There was that.
Who hasn't been there?
Who hasn't been there?
Who hasn't been there? Fucking strangers in a hotel room and going, is that a camera? Cool. Yeah.
Wasn't a hotel room.
It was a warehouse.
It was a warehouse. It was in the industrial area.
Yeah. The telltale was to the leather lounge and just some sheeting thrown up everywhere.
What was going on?
It's like,
right. I actually got a job there later. Because I went back for more work, you see, because I thought this would be good. And then they said, so we'll need your tax file number. Are you kidding me? No, it's a real friggin' job in Canberra.
It was actually legal in Canberra. That's the other thing I should point out. It was legal in Canberra at the time.
So I said, I haven't got one yet. And they went, what do you mean you haven't got one yet? And I said, well, they only assign them to you when you're 18, and they fucking shit themselves.
I forgot that element of it.
And they've gone, how old are you? And we're on 16, and they're like, really gone ice. They've really gone ice cold, and they've gone, ah.
Because you've also never actually seen it. You keep telling people, giving people a description. But technically, if you satisfied your own curiosity and saw the video that was shot of you,
of me,
when you were 16,
I could actually probably go to jail
for child porn.
Which would be...
How weird is that, though?
That would be the weirdest case in the world.
I want you to explain it to your cellmate. What are you in here for accessing child porn? That's filthy. What? How old was the kid that you were watching? I was 16.
I was 16.
Wait, what?
What? But could you imagine the court case? Like, yeah, Your Honour, no, is clearly caught watching child porn. Thanks, case is done, we're out. No,
yeah.
It was me. Yeah, you just said it was just no. It was me in there watching me. I was watching me. Do you want to approach the bench?
Yeah. But there have been cases in the US, and I don't know where they finally end up, but prosecutors full on wanted to charge 15, 16-year-olds with child porn charges. Because they were sexting. They were sending nudes to each other.
That was a real thing.
Nudes of them. And this is not even revenge porn like some shithead who's convinced someone to send them a nude and then shares it around to all their mates. No. This was just two... well, again, under the law, because of their age, people are arguing they can't consent. But these are 15, 16-year-olds sending to each other. And prosecutors trying to do them and have them be a lifelong sex offender for child sex offences because sending pictures of themselves.
So
how fucking weird is that?
That's of a different nature. Yeah. So I went back and talked to these guys.
Back to AIDzee's porn adventures.
They were like freaking out, and they said, "Yeah, we're not gonna do any more movies for a bit."
We're not talking to you about them either.
And, right. And I says, is there anything else I can do? I went, you could be a cleaner. And so I was a cleaner for 4 months. And then weird, one day we all came into work, and like everyone came into work, it was like a job. 8 o'clock in the morning, turn up, do, and my job was to clean up after the actors had done their thing. So there was like this round turntable in the middle, and there were 6 sets around. Now, 3 each. There was 2 movies being shot at once. So as one set of actors had a break, the next set of actors were doing and then working, and then the turntable would click round to the next set, and then they would swap movies. It was really efficient, right?
It's a production line.
It's a production line. And I had to follow the camera around and clean up the set so it would be nice and dry and cosy and lovely for when the camera clicked round again. And sometimes the set dressers would follow me and change it. And every now and again, somebody would call out across the set, and the directors and the actors would look at them going, "Quiet on set." And it was like, okay. So it was the longest time I spent saying nothing in my life. I was just really quiet and really efficient, and after a while you don't see the porn anymore. It's just as it's like Lucy and Adam. There you go. Hey, nice line, Adam. Clean. And I had yellow gloves on and an apron.
Industrial cleaning stuff.
And the smells of this stuff was like full-on chlorine. They wanted everything there to be fucking dead. And I think they actually said that to me. First couple of days, I was just sweating like a bastard because I was getting behind and I had to just go. And then I got into the rhythm of it, and then I learned to clean things really quick.
Yeah.
No, Mr. Lacey, we wouldn't do nothing.
You remind me of a scene from one of my favourite movies, Jesus of Montreal, which is a thing about actors doing a passion play. But we introduced to a couple of the actors. They're at a recording session and they're actively talk. Oh, what have you been doing? Like, I'm going out for this commercial. Someone's going in this soap opera. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, action. You got scripts and you're doing and they're doing voiceovers for a porno because this is a Canadian film. These people are French Canadian, so they're dubbing a porno into French. And there was supposed to be 2 girls and 2 guys there, and only one of the guys has shown up, and he's going, I'm an actor, I can do 2 different voices. And so he's going like, how do you like that, baby? Yeah, let's do it more. And he keeps going back and forth to the microphones. And at one point, he goes, yeah, I love it like that, baby. And he goes, oh, fuck. No, I used the wrong voice. And the producer in the recording studio just goes, nobody's going to notice.
No one's going to care. Don't worry about it.
An actor just going, oh, no, I've used the wrong voice for my porn voiceover. This is a catastrophe.
What's my motivation?
Yes. Like, I know I want to get my end away. But why do I want to get my end away?
My backstory.
Yeah. So, actors, what the hell? But
anyway.
Seriously, we were going to talk about gaming at the start of this.
And no, we will. We will do that now. Because for you, we will produce what stuff we said. We're going to do about gaming, and there's going to be a bit of Abbott work going on as well.
And I know, some people say, but how did you spend so much time talking about drugs and porn when you were playing games? Well, Grand Theft Auto I was playing. I blame that. I was explaining GTA 5 to AIDzee and the 3 protagonists, and my favourite, and probably everyone's favourite, Trevor, the meth head, living in a trailer park. He's just gorgeous. Like, there's a control where you swap between protagonists, because you only ever play one time. Sometimes all 3 of them are in the same action and you swap between them. Sometimes it's solo stuff. And sometimes you'd swap back to Trevor and he'd be waking up from some sort of bender and he's just in his undies. Where am I? That's a good question, Trevor. The fuck? Whose yard is this? One time he woke up in the middle of some dead bodies in his undies. Throws a bottle away, go, well, that was a hell of a party.
Who hasn't been there, right?
Who hasn't been there? He woke up on a mountainside in literal middle of nowhere in a lady's dress once. Said something about, well, if I was a bit more paranoid, I might think this was an alien abduction. And you're in the middle of nowhere and you have to walk for ages. But because I finished that and enjoyed that, young Ms. Angry, who's much more a gamer than me, I thought I might enjoy Yakuza 0. She got me that for Christmas. And I was explaining the weird sense of humour in Yakuza 0. A lot of people said we should do an angry gaming thing. And you'd probably get some amusement, because particularly when you're in fights and it doesn't work, I do swear at the screen a lot.
It does.
Fuck you! I hear that! Dodge, you motherfucker! What the fuck?
It's like when your boss finds out that the 9 months you've spent on this with his money is not going to work. It's that kind of passion. It's that kind of recrimination that goes on. When Angry gets the shits at a video game, it's always the video game's fault.
Absolutely.
And you can absolutely follow his line of reasoning through the swearing and the rising volume at first the game, then the controller, then the corporation who constructed the gaming console. And if he's really fucking going, he might remember the publisher, but by that point the controller's usually thrown at the screen and what do they call it?
Rage quit.
Rage quit.
Sometimes there's a rage quit.
And I'm just sitting there going, I'm not going to laugh, because that would be awkward and bad. Do not at this time laugh. You have years of actor training and years of professional work under your belt. Do not laugh. And just let one tear come down.
The sense of humour in Yakuza 0 is so Japanese. Apparently, we were discussing, apparently even Japanese people think Yakuza 0,
really
the Yakuza series, is quite weird in the humour. But it's mental. Like, you have 2 protagonists that you swap between them and various things. And one of them, like, such a dagger. He's supposed to be about 20, but he's this huge guy and he's absolutely unstoppable and beats the fuck out of a million people. when he learns a new fight style by watching someone, he goes, "That's rad," and it's like, why am I playing someone so uncool? Why did you say that's rad? It's set in 1988, but still. But the other guy, this eye patch guy, runs a nightclub. At least when he sees a new fight move that he can learn, he says, "Holy fuck!" So it's like, that's how different they are. One goes, "That's rad."
That's rad.
And the other says, "Holy fuck!" There are all these weird little side games you can play. You can try and go on dates. That's my goal. I'm up to the final fight, but now I can go around wasting my time on side quests because I won't be able to do side quests after the final fight. And you've got this friend saying, "It's urgent. We've got to go there and save the damsel." I go, "No, it's not.
No, don't worry.
Well, this is a suspended moment in time. I can just go round and round wasting time for a really long time. Build up my real estate empire, try and get a girlfriend, win a video game tournament, a bowling tournament. Not Mahjong. I don't know how to play Mahjong. I found a Mahjong parlour and I don't know how to play Mahjong."
I've Googled it, but I just didn't get a good guide. There's probably people who know how to play Mahjong.
Yeah. There's about 6 different...
There's got to be a how-to on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's got to be.
Oh, there's a how-to in the game. I just couldn't follow it. And there's about...
That's what I mean. You read it down.
6 different Japanese or Chinese gambling games in it, and it's like, no, fuck no. I'm never going to learn that. I'll do the bowling. I'll play darts. You can play pool. It's all cooling around. And you become friends with people, including sexual deviants. There's a dude who runs around just in his underpants.
Nothing wrong with that.
Tighty-whities, thrusting... I know.
It's just nothing wrong with that.
It's not a completely new experience to me.
I'm thinking your microaggressions and your judgment on...
Dude, when have I ever microaggressed on you? It's the one thing I can't be accused of with him.
It's guaranteed.
Fucking macro.
It's always macro.
Macroaggressions
micro
every time.
You're really clear. It's just like with this fine man, you're never unsure of where you are.
It's like a lot of
no ambiguity.
Yeah, a lot of social media. I put on my profile. If what I said pisses you off, that was on purpose. Get fucked.
Scarf.
Yeah. I saw, speaking of people trolling, and Corey Bernardi fell for it. I talked in a different video about Corey Bernardi being a racist fuckhole, trying to have, "I'm going to have my conservative Australian Hot 100 because Triple J bowed to political correctness and won't do it on Australia Day. I'm doing it on Australia Day." The 2 best things, well, 3 good things happened. Spotify eventually said, "It's been explained to us this is politically motivated and it's racist, so we're not going to host it." So it's gone, and Corey's all upset about that. Much better was virtually every Australian musician, and of completely different stripes and genres, said, "Get fucked. Do not associate my name with this.
Don't play my shit.
Do not associate my name with your racist bullshit." And it was brilliant. But the best one is some people... people started off honestly being a bit tame, just putting in Australian songs that were about Indigenous rights. Songs like Solid Rock, or a bunch of Midnight Oil songs, or, some Yotu Yindi, Warumpi Band and whatnot. So actually putting Indigenous rights songs on his playlist.
Right on the playlist there.
But I saw, this is one of my social media friends, Bill, someone I've actually met, but he lives in a different part, so I don't see him often. But he submitted... and he did a screenshot of it and put it on Twitter saying, "I'm doing my part," and used Corey's hashtag about Conservative 100. The songs on his list were an old Skyhook song called "Why Don't You All Get Fucked?" A Tism song, "I Might Be a Cunt, but I'm Not a Fucking Cunt." And there was a third one, which I forgot, which was right up there with that. And he screenshotted that. And this is how little attention Corey pays. Corey Bernardi liked that post. He just took it on the text. The text said, "I'm doing my part," voted in the Conservative 100, and didn't look at the attached image. So Corey Bernardi is liking a tweet saying, "Why don't you all get fucked?"
That pains me. That pains me. I'm so disappointed, because if I'd have known that, I could have done that.
Exactly.
And now...
he's probably not going to fall for it twice.
He's not going to fall for it twice, so now I've got to come up with something more extreme and well camouflaged, and if it's too well camouflaged, it's not going to fly. So, because I'd really like... So you know how you've got Santorum as
Yes.
a noun.
The frothy mix of lube and fecal matter that's sometimes the result of anal sex.
Right. Okay. I'm thinking, a noun for Bernardi. You know, I'm thinking some
It's got to be.
suggestions.
Honestly, a noun for Bernardi would have to be tied in with being a cell phone at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, because he was upset that Spotify said we're not hosting this racist bullshit, and he's going, oh, it's for everyone unless you can serve. He has categorically, specifically gone on record that businesses should be able to refuse service to anyone for any reason. That was part of his homophobic and anti-Muslim agenda. But when it applies to him, it doesn't count. It's like...
and the bullshit is that businesses can refuse to serve
Absolutely.
anyone under any circumstances. They can simply go, no, leave.
Yeah.
They can. And they can simply refuse to take your money and simply refuse to serve you. They don't have to tell you why. They just have to ask you to leave, and you've got to go.
Yeah,
Right?
It's the people who make a big song and dance in, I'm not doing it because you're gay.
Yeah.
You put a sign in your window saying no gays, no Muslims,
All
whatever.
of a sudden, you're a hate criminal because you fucking are.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing he's going like, when he's saying like, one of the first musicians to speak out against Corey Bernardi was Darren Hayes from Savage Garden. Remember the 90s?
Thanks, Darren.
And Darren just went, do not, and openly gay dude as well, so he's going to hate Corey Bernardi a lot. Do not use my music for your shit, because he had Savage Garden on the list, and he's just going, no, fuck. And he actually said, I'm getting the record company to get the lawyers onto you because you're defaming me by associating me with this bullshit. And Corey's going, no, I should be able to use the music for anything. And as one of my friends jumped in and said, cool, Corey, you know that photo you posed for in your Speedos and all wet and glistening? You're completely okay, obviously, if I use that in an advertising campaign for a gay sauna. And it's just like, oh, but you'd be misrepresenting me. Bingo,
Really?
motherfucker, bingo! It's just like, that's, like I said, I always say, no, I don't like bigots. I don't like bigots of any stripe. But when you're going to be a hypocrite and a liar and a coward and not own up to what you do and have this fucking double standard, then I really fucking hate you.
You can really get fucked.
Yeah.
Seriously, and certainly.
Yeah.
Right.
And not in the good way.
You're like, if you want some bloody controversy, I'm bloody gonna spit out a rhyme. I'm not. I can't do hip hop for shit. I'm shit at it. I can't even do a good gang sign because I haven't got arthritic fingers. So
what would that be the gang sign for? You're like the Squid Gang.
Yeah, I'm like,
Squiddies. South Coast Squiddies, man.
old persons.
Yeah. I'm not much better. My thumbs are fucked. But, that's a different story.
And my teeth glue's coming undone. So, I'm going to be old person very shortly. Anyway, look, a lot of people go, free speech is a good thing and everyone should have it. Well, in principle, it's a good thing, but you'll find that your man and me say no.
Well, this is the thing. People say, should you always give people a platform? I go, no. As someone saying like, oh, if you let Nazis have a platform, we can defeat them with words. No one will listen to their ridiculous arguments. This is the same world.
It's actually not happened.
Yes.
That's a thing that has happened.
Yeah.
Nazis did get a platform, and they really did. Fucking organised to fucking massacre shitloads of humans of all stripes. So, no, don't give Nazis a platform.
And then some people say, but that was the past. That won't work now. You're
Yes.
saying that about the same world where someone says it would be funny if you ate Tide Pods, dishwashing blocks, and people do it. Okay? So, for something that is so evidently stupid, and you think giving a Nazi a platform won't cause any fucking damage. Oh my God.
It will. It does. It will. Right? One of the beautiful things of the internet is that no one's isolated anymore. The worst thing about the internet is that no one's isolated anymore.
Because there's a bunch of motherfuckers out there who should be isolated.
Absolutely.
Put in a little box, possibly not even with breathing holes.
Yeah, because you do that for a puppy or a bird, but not a Nazi.
No.
You might even weld it up.
Yeah, push it off the side of a boat. Something like that.
Might.
Not advocate.
Not
Look,
saying do that, not saying do that. Just saying, it could be a thing.
I'm not advocating for violence against these people unless they stick their heads up. I wouldn't be like if someone goes punch a Nazi. You said punch a Nazi and they punch someone. I do like that animated Captain Kirk meme. I don't know if you know from the really old shitty Star Trek animated series. People pose as like when you're acting shocked at something. There's a couple of stills of Captain Kirk going, "Did I do that?" But honestly, I have no idea how long it's... But people like long videos. You never know what you're going to get with us.
They're often fun. You know, we were going to come in and do a quick thing and fuck off. But no. Because we can talk in a vacuum.
You should join us. Like, occasionally, I mean, I do live streams on a semi-regular basis. Sometimes AIDzee's able to be there. Yep, 2 hours. No drama.
No, easy. Piece of piss. And I can't read the comments. Yeah. So only one of us is riffing. Doing the heavy lifting of going backwards and forwards. I'm just talking shit, really. So, anywho, not everyone should be given a platform. Everyone says free speech and no censorship is a must, but then you turn around and say, well, what about child porn, dude?
Yeah.
Is that a thing that we should just have?
And I know there are some people who say yes, okay? Right? But, they're called pedophiles.
And that's, a criminal thing. And then they go, oh, well, no, we shouldn't have it for the pedophiles because that's wrong. And it's like, well, hang on a fucking minute. You are advocating free speech and no censorship for everything all the time. And no, there are certain moments and certain situations where you've got to put the welfare of your people above the ability of your people to speak out. Now, this is not something that a government can do on its own, but it's something that will become very quickly evident by a people. Oh, but AIDzee, if you say that, then you can quickly devolve into a situation where gays are hunted through the streets like they were in the fucking 80s. Well, you know what? If that's the local community rules, that's the local community rules. And I am not the person to turn around to another culture or person and say those are not the right rules. I can say that within my sphere, in my community, you can and can't do things that we've all agreed are right and wrong. Think if you next time you go on free speech and no censorship, think it's true just a little bit more.
Some speech is literally designed to inflame violence, usually against the most vulnerable people in a society.
Usually they like to punch down because they're fucking weak as piss.
So if you turn a blind eye to that type of speech, you've implicitly endorsed them. That's how they take it. That's when we go, why are you upset about, you say stuff about rape culture and whatnot. I've never raped anyone. Every time you say rape culture is not a thing, even though you've never raped or sexually harassed anyone, the actual rapists hear you saying rape isn't happening. So they're going, what I did's not rape. You give Nazis a platform in the name of free speech.
It's okay.
What Nazis hear is, I'm doing the right thing.
That's
fuck that noise.
That's an actual thing, Look, if you're going to say something, but be ready to stand next to it. Yeah. Right? My old man and me have had many fights over many issues, but one of the very interesting pieces of wisdom he gave me when I was a very young fellow was don't ever have a tattoo because you don't want identifying marks on your body. And several scars later, still don't have a tattoo.
You've got a fairly identifiable
body, and quite documented, as it turns out. But the other piece of wisdom that he gave me was, your chickens always come home to roost. Yes. Nothing that you do will ever be secret forever. Nothing that you do that you got away with will ever stay untouched or unpunished forever. Everything you do will always come back to you. Always. It might take a long time, but it will come back to you. So if you're going to do something, be prepared to stand next to it. Be prepared to be executed or go to jail for a very long time, because that's a real thing. And again, me and Angry have done some fucking very interesting stuff on the internet, but at the same time, you'll find that it's only me and Angry. When we have guests, the show really changes tone because everything you do on the internet will stay there forever. It is being recorded by large corporations who are very interested in everything about you and who are very interested in statistically breaking down what you do and who you are. Great. Fantastic. Better services for everyone and no privacy for anyone. So we live in that world. What you do is labelled and attached to you. So, you know, every time you're saying think stuff, great, that's fantastic. And it is good to have contrarian points of view and it is good to talk ideas through. But if you start going, everyone must, then all of a sudden you've lost perspective on should everyone, must everyone, and you've stopped starting to say, what do we all agree on?
Yeah, that kind of reminds me that there's always the saying in the US of anyone can grow up to be president. And now with Trump, that seems like a threat.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
It's like the old saying, reputed to be Chinese philosophical saying, may you live in interesting times. Hard to know if that's a blessing or a curse. Yeah. And now that American saying of anyone can grow up to be president is like a threat.
It's just like a, eat the rest of your meal. Yeah. Why? Because anyone can grow up to be president.
Yeah. Someone who kills people who don't eat their vegetables. You never know. That wouldn't be as weird as Trump being president.
I'm scared. Go back to bed. Oh, I'm scared. Anyone can grow up to be president. Oh, okay. Yeah. There's a monster in my closet. But I don't want to be grow up to be president. No. That'd be fucked.
The monster in the closet could grow up to be president. It could work like that. I think that's enough for us for today. I think
No, we're going to do the Abbott thing.
All right, the Abbott thing. This was literally the one thing we were going to talk about and got sidetracked. The one thing, look, we're coming up on Australia Day here, and it's Tony Abbott, in a desperate attempt to maintain some relevance, he's gone with this, I'm going to appeal to the extreme bigoted right. He did it with the marriage equality campaign, encouraged all the hateful bullshit. He was a colossal loser on that front.
Massive.
And of course, no one actually asked him, but he decided to pipe up and say Australia Day, or I think we can say we should celebrate it because the British arrival here was a net gain for everyone, including Indigenous Australians. Now, there are a whole bunch of things wrong there, not least that saying net gain it's coded racism and it's weasel words that he means anything. Like, he's basically saying, well, if you're alive today and you're Indigenous, you have access to a TV and a house, and you're not a nomadic tribe. And there's an inherent racism in that says, because I don't understand the lives of Indigenous Australians before European arrival, by definition it must be bad. Because I don't it's not something I can identify.
It's got to be better, right?
Yeah. And so that is in and of itself racist. And also just saying net gain is a weird word. It's like, it's not really a net gain for the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people who were murdered.
Not for them.
No.
Not for them. Ask a Tasmanian Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And that's why net gain is a weasel word. He's going, yeah, sure. Some people were murdered out of hand. Some. Thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. Over 200 years, I think we probably cracked the hundreds of thousands.
I reckon
people who were murdered.
Well, remember that an entire state's full of humans was annihilated by a marching line of people as they cleared an entire state of the population. So it's got to be cracking the hundreds of thousands. And, Australian history likes to reshape a few little things. There was they like to point out that the colonisation of Australia was fairly peaceful, which is not real. No. There was a rolling fight from one end of the country to the other. Now, in a lot of circumstances when the settlers lived there and lived with the first Australians. They lived very peacefully. That really did happen. Didn't always happen. And it got hyper-violent in those situations. But as the colonial spread across the land, there was a rolling fight. And it was supported and endorsed by the government at the time, which was Britain, because they could not afford to lose another colony, which they just had in America. They just lost big time. They couldn't afford to lose another one for their standing on the world stage. So they were prepared to do fucking anything to stay owners of the new continent. And they fucking did. The people that came after them were often quite surprised at the stories their neighbours were telling them. There is records of people actually upping stumps and going back to Europe going, fuck this, don't want to live here, this is bullshit, don't want to be associated with that. Most didn't do that.
No. There was a lot. I mean, there were just an absurd number of just straight up massacres. And they literally just... because the Indigenous people existed. Hey, wait, I've built a town here, I've built a farm here, and there's some dark fellas over there.
They've got to go. They've got to go. The hyper-violence.
The one of the dozens that is an interesting one you might want to look up is called the Mile Creek Massacre. And why that's interesting to me is not because this town near Mile Creek, there were some Indigenous people who decided to set up camp down at Mile Creek, and the townspeople said, not having that, went down and killed them, men, women, children, just killed them, just because they were there.
Just because they were there.
Didn't like them.
Just because they were there.
Just they were there. Kill them. They hadn't done anything. There was not even the excuse of, you looked at a white woman funny. No. It was literally just they were there, so they killed them. Why this is interesting is because it was the first time white people were put on trial for killing Indigenous people.
First time fucking ever.
The first time in Australia that happened. And why I find it interesting, besides the first time, the defence almost universally was, but they were black fellas.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Why am I on trial?
What do you mean? What's this about?
Well, yeah, I shot them all because they were there and being black and stuff.
So you got to understand that the colonisation skirmishes were more in the lines of what we'd understand as military style operations, right? There were military style operations in that kind of fashion, but afterwards, the majority of the settlers actually did get on with their neighbours, but where they didn't, there was massive hyperviolence and massacres and entire populations murdered by people who just basically didn't like them.
Yep.
And because there was no check or balance on that at all until fucking a long time after settlement had happened, they basically did what they felt. They were endorsed by the non-action of people. That's the other thing. You know, if you really don't agree, then speak up.
Yeah.
If you might get a punch in the head, you might get a punch in the head.
Silence is violence, man.
Yeah, you know.
So, yeah.
If you see something is really not right, fucking do something, because you'll be surprised how many people on the train don't do anything, and then what's going to happen to her when she gets dragged off the fucking carriage. Yes. So, you know what? You might get a punch in the head. Life is like that. You get a few punches in the fucking head. But if you don't do anything,
Yep. So, yeah, if you still want to know further reading, look up The Frontier Wars. That covers a lot of what happened as a white settlement spread throughout Australia. But hey, so yeah, in short, Tony Abbott, gutless, racist dirtbag, doing his best to appeal to the extreme right bigot fringe in Australia. Fuck him and fuck anyone who listens to him, quite honestly.
Thank you.
Bye now.